Did you know that women are twice as likely as men to be diagnosed with an anxiety disorder at some point in their lives? Twice as likely. For many high achieving women, the pressure to be perfect and the fear of failure run deep. And and then you add in the weight of imposter syndrome, which is feeling like a fraud despite the evidence of success. And it's no wonder why anxiety often follows close behind. Each of these patterns, perfectionism, fear of failure, and self-doubt, creates the perfect storm for anxiety to take hold. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Angie Heck. I'm a certified 180 Method life coach, and I am the creator of the Confidence Code from Fear to Faith. I help high achieving women, especially mothers, break free from anxiety, control, and the pressure to hold everything together so that they can finally lead their families from a place of peace, not perfection. I used to believe, I didn't start here. I used to believe that if I could just do enough, fix enough, or prove myself enough, that I'd finally feel peace. Instead, I found myself exhausted, anxious, and disconnected from myself, my family, and from God. When I went through the 180 method, I realized something powerful. I wasn't broken. I was disconnected. Disconnected from my true self, the one God designed before trauma, fear, and expectations took over. Healing didn't happen when I tried harder. It happened when I surrendered deeper. My intention for this time together today is to help you see that anxiety isn't your identity. It's actually a signal. And that confidence begins when we stop performing and start trusting. So think about a moment recently when you felt anxious, tense, or like you had to control everything. Maybe your child was pushing back, something went wrong at work, or someone misunderstood you. Now ask yourself, was I afraid of losing control? Or was I afraid of being seen as weak, messy, or not enough? That's the real root of anxiety for many of us. It's not just fear of failure, it's actually fear of exposure. We learned somewhere along the way that safety comes from competence. If I can perform, achieve, and manage everything, I'll be safe. But emotional safety doesn't come from control, it comes from connection. I'm going to say that one more time because it's really important. Emotional safety doesn't come from control, it comes from connection. When your nervous system has been trained through trauma or over responsibility to equate mistakes with danger, anxiety becomes your constant companion. And that's why even the strongest, most capable women you know or people you know can feel anxious, disconnected, and deeply alone. So let's talk about why trying to think your way out of fear doesn't work and what does. So you are a human being, not a human doing. But most of us live completely from that human side of from the human side of that. Our our logic, lists, and survival mode. Um, Here's what this looks like. So you have your neocortex and your amygdala that is housed in your brain. Neocortex is actually where logic, planning, and problem solving live. It's actually considered the newer part of your brain. Um, and so it's kind of like the reasoning part of your brain. And then amygdala is actually your emotional memory bank. It's where fear, trauma, and the question, am I safe, are constantly going off. So when anxiety shows up, it's your amygdala. It's that emotional memory bank, and it's saying, I've been here before and it wasn't safe, or I didn't feel safe. So when you feel hijacked by fear, your brain isn't malfunctioning, it's actually protecting you. But it's protecting an older version of you. That's where the being part of the human being comes in, the part of you connected directly to God. That's where your peace lives. That's where your confidence was born before fear ever entered the story. So let's do a quick exercise. Think of the thing that triggers your anxiety the most. Maybe it's um maybe it's how like a situation or a person or a problem. Now, how do you talk about that? How do you talk about the anxiety? If you're referring to anxiety as my anxiety, or your fear as my fear, or my fear of failing, or my control issues, my OCD, my whatever it is, I want you to replace the word my with the word the. And so now that makes it the anxiety, the fear, the OCD. When you say my, you make it part of who you are. It's like you're owning that. When you say the, you recognize it as something you can observe, not something you have to be. Because you are not anxiety. You are not perfectionism. You are a woman in process, healing, not broken. All right. Let's talk about what happens when anxiety hijacks your system. First of all, let's talk about what a hijack is. A hijack is when your body goes into survival mode. Your heart starts racing, your breathing changes, and your body actually releases adrenaline. You can't think logically, you can't problem solve, and you react instead of respond. That's why, even when you know better, you can't do better because you're hijacked. But there's a way to interrupt it, and it's called the SOS method. So the SOS method, um, you can use this in any situation. So once you start feeling that hijack come up, then you think of, oh, I have the SOS method to use. So the first S stands for stop. So you're literally just going to stop whatever you're doing and give yourself a moment. And then you're going to oxygenate, which is the O. Um, And so you're going to take slow, deep breaths. This releases oxytocin, which is the antidote to adrenaline. So it's like squashing that adrenaline. And then the last S stands for seek truth. So you're just going to ask yourself some questions here. What's really happening right now? What am I afraid this says about me? And then you're going to ask, what does God say about me instead? Every time you walk through this, you rewire your brain to respond with faith instead of fear. Okay, so now think of a recent moment when you were triggered, maybe an argument, a failure, or a moment when you felt small, whatever it is. And I want you to close your eyes and walk through the SOS in real time. So you're going to stop, you're going to oxygenate, and then you're going to seek truth. Feel the shift in your body from control to surrender. From I have to fix this to I can trust God with this. That shift right there, that's the beginning of peace. All right, so you now know how to identify the root of your fear and anxiety, shift from human doing to human being, and use the SOS method to reset in the moment. So the next step is to go deeper, to heal the root, not just the reaction. I'd love to invite you to a free one-on-one confidence reset session with me. In that session, we're going to uncover the core fear driving your anxiety, where control is stealing your peace, and how to reconnect with the truth of who God really says you are. So you don't need to fix yourself. You need to find yourself. The healed, peaceful, faith-filled woman God already designed you to be. Thank you for being here, for choosing healing over hiding, faith over fear, and peace over perfection. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope that I get to meet you and go deeper with you. And thank you very much.